So good afternoon, students. Is my screen visible? Shall I start? Okay, thank you so much. So basically, we had seen what exactly are regular expressions in the last lecture. We also saw what are various regular languages and how we can express those languages in terms of some expressions called as regular expressions, right? So in this lecture, we are going to see what is the significance of regular expressions and finite automata. How we can interrelate a regular expression and a finite automata. How we can make conversions between RE to FA or FA to RE. Okay, so before going into that, let me give you a few problems based on yesterday's lecture. So basically, it's a revision. Okay, so quickly solve these one or two problems I'm giving so as to make sure whether you got yesterday's lecture properly or not. Okay, so design the RE for the set of strings. Obviously, it is very simple, just a revision or a recap. Okay, over the alphabets 0, comma 1, starting with 0. Similarly, the set of strings over alphabet 0, comma 1, ending with 1. Third one, set of all strings over alphabets A, comma B, starting with A and ending with B, ending in B. And finally, fourth one, set of strings set of strings recognized by A plus B whole cube. So these are the four problems. Each one of them can be asked for 2 marks. So right now you are having an understanding how to move ahead with these sort of problems. We have already covered these problems in yesterday's lecture. So quickly give me the answers. These are basically a revision of what we had done so far. So let me know what is the answer for the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one likewise. A set of strings over the alphabet 0, comma 1, starting with 0. Okay. So those who were not present in yesterday's lecture or might have missed some points can again revise using these problems. We had done similar problems in yesterday's lecture also. Okay, so let me write the answers for each of these in front of these questions only. So first one is set of all the strings which are starting with 0 over the alphabet 0, comma 1. So yeah, I have received few answers. Jimit, which one? Okay, the second one you were saying. Okay. The first one is very simple. It is starting with 0. So it is 0 dot 0 plus 1 closure. Right? Correct. I'm repeating it once again. It is starting with 0. So the first symbol has to be a 0, followed by any combinations of 0 and 1. Because in the question, it is just asking me that it should start with 0. Afterwards, whatever be the symbol, I'm not bothered about them. Similarly, the second one is all about ending with 1. So it can have any symbol in the beginning. So it can be either 1 plus 0 or it can be 0 plus 1, whichever way you wish to write, both are same, followed by 1 because it is ending with 1. Okay, so don't get confused if I'm writing 0 plus 1 instead of 1 plus 0. Both are same things. That is either 0 or 1, right? So don't get confused between them. Similarly, the third one will be set of all the strings starting with A and ending with B. So I'm writing it over here. Starting with A and ending with B. So it is A into A plus B closure dot B. If you even skip the dot, then also it's fine. No issues with that. You can simply write it continuously. That's also a correct answer. Okay, so are we clear with the first three types? What will be the answer for the fourth one? Set of all the strings over whatever, over the alphabets A and B, recognized by A plus B whole cube. So I just want the set of strings over here, which are recognized by A plus B whole cube. So it is basically a plus b. That is, don't think it mathematically. It is not the formula of a plus b whole cube. It is either a or b 3 times raised to power 3. So it will be a plus b, a plus b, a plus b, something like this. Am I correct? So basically, we want all these set of strings which can be recognized by a plus b whole cube. So it is something like this: a plus b repeated 3 times. That is what we have written over here. Either a or b, either a or b, either a or b. So the string could be something like this. The string could be something like this. It could be even all b's. It could be b a a. It could be b b b b b a, and so on. Clear? Any doubts so far? Kindly let me know. If you're having any issues, kindly let me know. Yeah, basically we can say it possibilities 2 raised to 3. Yeah, we can say so. Kindly do it and let me know how many possibilities are there. Generally, the questions are not asked on the possibilities, but yeah, we can have 2 raised to 3 because there are two inputs and raised to 3, that is 8 possibilities in total. So if you want, I can write all the possibilities. It is basically AAA. I'm writing it again. AAB, ABA, ABB, BAA, BAB, BBA, and triple B. Kindly write all these possibilities, not this, but these. Okay, all the 8 values. So am I clear with this? How we can solve these problems? This was just a revision of yesterday's lecture, just to start off with today's session. Am I clear? Kindly let me know. Kindly reciprocate in the chat section or in the comment section. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can we move ahead with today's topics? Okay, the attendance is 98 people only. Okay, correct. So let's move ahead. Basically, what we want to do today is we want to show some representations of RE in terms of FA. So basically, what I want to do is in the exam, you will be given a regular expression and you would like to convert that into an FA. Now, whenever I'm talking about an FA, now if you remember, in the very first lecture only, I had shown the classification of FA. Basically, it is with outputs and without outputs, if you remember, right? So we had already seen that in with outputs, we are having two machines, that is the Mealy machine and the Moore machine. If you remember, we had done recently, correct? The Mealy machine and the Moore machine. And if I move ahead with the second type of FA, that is without outputs, they are of 3 types. First one is DFA, second one is NFA, and third one is epsilon NFA. Okay, is my screen visible? Kindly see whether you are understanding what I have written so far. This is just a revision of what we had done so far in these 17 lectures. Right? We have already covered the left-hand side portion. If I'm talking about DFA, we have already covered FSM. Okay, so I have done this much also. This much part is left, that is NFA and epsilon NFA. I had told you that before proceeding with NFA and epsilon NFA, I would like to cover regular expressions. So that is the main reason what we are going to study today over here in this lecture. That is, we are going to convert the RE to an FA. Now, how we can convert a regular expression to an FA? Basically, the regular expression has its own way of solving problems, and finite automata has its own way of solving problems. But the only thing is, they are solving the same set of problems, but in different fashion. So yesterday we saw a few examples. Okay, I had shown you that whenever we are talking about these regular expressions, we can create some language out of it. So this is nothing but the language. Yes or no? If this is the R, this is the language corresponding to it. So as you all know, regular languages are accepted by finite automata only. So I can say that regular expressions are the basis of regular languages, which are then further classified or understood by DFA, NFA, or epsilon NFA. Clear with this? This was all about the theoretical aspect. So now we can move ahead with the practical aspect, or how we can actually solve RE to FA. So in the exam, you will be asked to convert an RE on a regular expression to a FA. Now, there are two possibilities, or we can say three possibilities. First, RE to NFA. Second, RE to DFA. And third, RE to epsilon NFA. Generally, questions are being asked on this type and this type. Is it clear? These type of questions are being asked in the exam. RE to NFA and RE to epsilon NFA. Now, what exactly is epsilon NFA? Uh, but before going into that, what exactly is NFA? Can anyone let me know what is NFA? They can unmute themselves and let me know what exactly do you mean by NFA. Or you can even use the chat box, whatever you wish. Okay, come on, hurry up. At least the full form to start with, and then we can move ahead. We have already done this. What is DFA? What is NFA? You might not be aware of this epsilon NFA. We are going to do that. Okay. Okay, I've got an answer. It is a non-deterministic finite automata. Okay. So what is the difference between this NFA and this DFA? Any striking differences between a deterministic finite automata and a non-deterministic finite automata? Anything which sets them apart? I'm not talking about epsilon part right now. I'm just saying that DFA and NFA main differences क्या है? What are the main differences? Number of transactions. Okay, you can say that uh, the inputs or the input transitions in case of a DFA is fixed. Basically, if I'm having these two states and I'm having only inputs in the form of 0 and 1, from one particular state Q1 to Q2, there can be only, for example, I can have only one transition of 0. I cannot have one more transition of 0 in case of a DFA. Understanding what I'm trying to say? The transitions are deterministic in nature. For 0, I can say that the machine can only make a transition from Q1 to Q2 in case of a DFA. But in case of an NFA, there can be multiple transitions also. So this can be an NFA, but this is not a DFA. Why? Because from Q1, there are two transitions for 0. So there is no sense of determinism in this case. But on the contrary, NFAs can have multiple transitions of the same input from the same state to different states. It can also be something like this. One is coming over here and one is coming over here. So this is basically an NFA and not a DFA. Why so? Because there is no determinism or specificity whether from Q1 it should make a transition to Q2 or Q1, because the machine is not in a position to say it confidently or specifically. That is what we call as NFA. Clear? But in case of epsilon NFA, what do we mean by epsilon? In yesterday's lecture, we saw some diagrams based on NFA epsilon transitions. If you remember, we had done something like this. For example, there is one state over here, there is one state over here. There is this epsilon transition. Okay. Similarly, we can make an epsilon transition over here also. Q1 is having 0. For example, Q2 is having epsilon. This is just a random diagram I'm drawing. There is no relation between them. So this is again an NFA, but this is a diagram with epsilon transitions also. That is what we call as epsilon NFA. Okay, so now let me quickly go through the chat section. If anyone is having doubt, let me go through it. In DFA, multiple transitions, correct. Multiple transitions of same input from same state is not possible in case of DFA. It is possible in case of NFA, correct. If any of the state is not following the rule of DFA, then the whole structure is NFA. Okay, clear enough. So basically, if it is not a DFA, then it is an NFA. Clear with the diagram? Both these diagrams are NFAs. The first one is a simple NFA. The second one is a epsilon based NFA because it is having epsilon transitions in between. Clear with this definition, clear with this description of what exactly is the difference between NFA and epsilon NFA and DFA. Right? Kindly let me know so that I can move ahead with this main problem in hand, that is RE to FA. Okay, so whenever in the exam it is being asked to convert an RE to an FA, if they have not mentioned which FA they want, you can choose either NFA with epsilon or NFA without epsilon, whichever method you feel simple enough. Okay, rarely they ask questions to convert an RE directly to a DFA. But again, there is a special case of problems for that. We are going to discuss them whenever we start with those sections. In today's lecture, we are going to focus on RE to epsilon NFA. RE to epsilon NFA, or I'm simply writing RE to FA because you can choose any of the methods which I'm going to show you today, right? So let's get started with today's topic, that is RE to FA. This was all about the introduction and the recap of previous lectures. So uh, let's assume that R1 is a regular expression, R2 is a regular expression. Now, this particular R1 can be represented with the help of an FA, something like this. I'm just writing it in. Try to follow me. This is R1 and this is R2. So basically, imagine that this particular small box over here is R1 and this is R2. So this is the FA corresponding to R1. I can write it FA1, and this is the FA corresponding to R2, that is FA2. R1 can be any of the expression. For example, R1 could be A plus B whole cube. R1 could be A into A plus B whole closure, R2, sorry. So I'm not going into the details. I'm just giving you an overall diagram of what R1 and F1 is correlated with. Over here, we are having two regular expressions, R1 and R2, and that can be represented by the FA on the right hand side. So I have just drawn some schematic diagram, a box structure. I'm going to expand it further when I'm going to see some problems in this particular lecture only. Right? So this is how we represent an RE as an FA in a general format. Because what I'm trying to say is this particular box is nothing but corresponding to this RE. Right. So this R2 box which you are seeing, which you are watching inside this particular section is nothing but a diagram. That diagram can be a small diagram, it can be a huge diagram. I'm going to show exactly how you can create a diagram for this RE present over here. That is what is the agenda for today's lecture. So we are going to convert a regular expression into a finite automata, and that entire finite automata fits inside this particular box. You may have seen in your architecture diagrams, you simply draw boxes, and because just to save space. But inside that boxes, you might see that it might consist of multiple communications between different blocks and different sections. That is what is being shown over here. This R2 and R1 is nothing but a schematic representation of the finite automata, which is present inside that box. Clear? Clear enough? So we can proceed ahead, and I'm just going to show you with the help of few examples how to convert an RE into an FA. Okay. So let me give you a few examples. Referring my notes, I will give it to you. I'm having its hard copy right now. I'm not having its soft copy. Whenever your college resumes, or if possible, if I can get the scanned copy of this notes, I will provide to you, to Google Classroom. Okay. So I'm writing some rules. You have to follow these rules. Okay. Okay. So this is a state I'm drawing. Basically, this is an FA. Now you only tell me what this particular diagram represents. What is the RE which corresponds to this FA? Any idea? We have seen it yesterday also. Try to recollect. This is a diagram given to you. I am just asking what is the RE corresponding to this particular diagram. Phi. Correct. Very well answered. Yes, yes, Isha, yes, Yashi, Ayush, empty set, or you can say null set because it's phi right now. Okay. So we can say that this particular diagram over here represents a null set, empty set, or phi. But don't write epsilon over here. Correct? Yeah, very well said, Harsh, because there is no transition which is pointing towards the final state. As we all know, double circles indicate final state. So you might be aware of it right now. Clear? So this is how we represent an RE which is having phi inputs as an FA. So this diagram you can see over here, this is an FA. We had seen it yesterday also, but that time I was not focusing a lot over here on this particular aspect. Right now I'm explaining that this particular RE is phi, and this is the diagram corresponding to it, which is the finite automata. Right? This is your rule one. We are going to make use of these rules. Yesterday also I had given some rules, similar rules only over here today also. Just follow it and you will be able to solve it. Again, next sort of problem, it is starting from here and it is at the same time entering the final state also. You already know what is this. What is this? Kindly let me know. Yeah, I'm waiting. This is RE. What are correct? It is epsilon. Because as you can see, it is the start state as well as the final state. There is no inputs taken over here. So just now we saw what is the concept of epsilon NFA. This is an epsilon NFA. So you can't be sure whether you're whenever you're converting an RE to an FA, you're 100% going to get a DFA or an NFA or epsilon NFA. Most of the times you end up getting some epsilon NFAs. So you can't stick to the set of logic that I am going to convert an RE to a DFA directly. You can't do so because there's a lot of steps involved in between. You need to first of all construct an epsilon NFA, then an NFA without epsilon, and then you move to get the DFA for the corresponding RE. Clear with this? Let's move to towards the next rule. Rule number three. Okay. Rule number three is we are starting over here. And this is the diagram. So kindly let me know what is the RE corresponding to this. What is the regular expression corresponding to this? It's very simple. We had done yesterday also. Yes, correct. It is A. Here because we are just taking one input, that is A, and moving into the final state. Now rule number 4, most crucial one, rule number 4 and 5. Now let me know what is this. Just now we saw some diagram related to it. What will be the RE? R1 plus R2, correct. It is either R1 or R2. Why? Because we are making a transition either to the upper half or the lower half. We can't have both the transitions together at the same time. So it is either R1 or R2, and this is the FA corresponding to it. Got it? How we drew this example? Okay, let me go back to the previous step over here. As I had told you, this is what we have drawn over here as well. R1 and R2. I have made use of that particular concept over here and added it over here. Now you would say that we are not having double circles over here, but why are we expecting a double circle inside this thing? There is only going to be one final state over here, right? So that final state is present over here. We are either accepting R1 and then moving to the final state, or we are accepting R2 and then moving to the final state. Clear? But think of it like this. What are the inputs present over here? And this in these particular positions, what are the inputs? Kindly let me know. Can we see any inputs over there? Yes or no? Are there any inputs? Can we have any inputs over there? No. The only input which is possible is epsilon. So we are going to put epsilons in all these four positions, right? So what we are making use of epsilon is we are pretty much sure that at this particular state 1, this is nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're having 6 states. So at state number 1, we know that either I can accept R1 or I can accept R2. There are 2 ways to reach there. So I can go to state 2 or state 4, but I can't take any inputs. Why? Because I can start taking inputs once I reach state number 2 or state number 4. So for that purpose, I won't take any inputs. I will just take a epsilon input and make a transition to state number 2, or other way around, I can take one more epsilon or move to state number 4. So basically the RE is nothing but either R1 or R2, and I can even write it like this, R1 or R2. Clear with this? Any doubts so far? Two more rules are left, and then the things will be very much clear to you. Then we can start solving actual problems. Rule number 5, I'm drawing it, kindly have a look at it. I'm starting it like this. Okay. Now have a look at this diagram and tell me what is this RE corresponding to. This is again a similar sort of diagram we have done yesterday. This is R1 dot R2. That is R1 followed by R2, or I can say it is R1 R2. Yes, correct? Am I correct? Both the things are correct. It is concatenation of R1 and R2. Now carefully have a look. At this point we are having the final state because I don't need any more further extra states over here. But in the previous case, this was not the case. Why? Because either I can take R1 or R2 and then move to final state. But in this case, I know that after accepting R1 and then accepting R2, I can directly move into the final state. That's why it is shown like this. Clear with this explanation? Yes or no? Kindly let me know. Yes, okay. So right now, kindly tell me, are we going to have different diagrams for R1 dot R2 and R1 R2, or the diagrams are going to be same? This is basically an epsilon. This is again an epsilon. Okay. So can we make some changes to this diagram and still get the right answer? Yes or no? Can we get rid of this epsilon? Because we know that after accepting R1, there is no other possibility other than accepting R2. Because it is R1 dot R2, or I can say it is concatenation of R1 and R2. So can I get rid of that epsilon? Yes or no? And still get the answer as correct? Yes. Okay. So the diagram could be something like this. It is the first epsilon. We can't skip that. It is R1, and this particular state will be overlapped between R1, sorry, and R2. The shapes don't matter. Okay. Just make sure this is the final state and this is the diagram. Okay. The same thing only. What we have done is we have omitted this epsilon because again it is not required over here. So that's why we have omitted this. Yes, Dhruv, what are you having any doubts? Kindly let me know. What basically we are doing is we are at a point when we have understood that R1 dot R2 is nothing but R1 followed by R2. So there is no need of any epsilon. So both these answers are correct. Either you can go with this or you can go with this. As you saw that we can minimize the finite automata, Moore machines, Mealy machines, same concept over here. If you want to minimize your number of states, you can opt for this particular uh, diagram, or you can go with the first diagram. Both are correct, right? Because as you know that this particular state, this state and this state are common in both these cases. That's why we have overlapped them or merged them. Otherwise, the entire concept is same. Clear with this? Can I move ahead with the final rule and the most crucial one, the most important rule, rule number 6, the last rule. Okay, so this rule is basically you have to. Okay, I'm now giving you the RE, and now you only tell me how you will design this. It is basically A star. Okay, no, not A star. I'm not telling R1 star. Okay, take this example. It is a closure. Now you know what exactly is a closure. Can you draw a diagram for me explaining the closure? We have seen all the basic properties, the basic diagrams so far. Can you solve what is R1 star or R star or whatever you want to call it? It is basically a regular expression. There will be self loop, but how? Think about it. Whenever I'm telling it's a star, whenever I'm saying it's a star, it will also consist of epsilon values also. Don't forget that, right? So it will be epsilon, then R1, then R1 raised to 2, then R1 raised to 3, and so on. If I'm not wrong, correct? Yes or no? All the possible values of R1 will be present inside this set, which is why we call it as closure. So how will you draw a diagram for this particular regular expression? Self loop of epsilon. We can't have more than one epsilon. So we can't have a self loop of epsilon. The only intention is like this. Even if I get an epsilon as an input, I can make a transition to the final state. Yes or no? Because all these are valid, right? All these are valid statements. So even if I get epsilon as the only input, then also it's going to move into the final state. Or if I get any of these inputs, then also they can move into the final state, right? So the diagram has to take into account, take into considerations both these possibilities, either epsilon or anything out of these remaining values. So how will you draw such a diagram? There will be two transitions from the start state, one which will directly go to the final state with epsilon input, and the other half will take care of the remaining inputs. I am giving you very clear cut instructions. Just follow that. Okay. First, first path will directly go to the final state with epsilon input, and the second path will take the remaining inputs and check whether they can move into the final state or not. Just take 2 minutes, try on your own. Otherwise, I'm over here, I will explain you what to do. Okay, just try on your own first and let me know whether how many states you're getting. States as in now, don't try to construct the table as we had done in the case of FAs or FSM. Just go with the diagram. That's it. I'm simply drawing the structure for you. That's it. Nothing else. One state. No, you can't get answer in one state. Three states or four states. Just think of it. No, not two states. Harsh, you're very close. Just think of it, whether you can get it in three states, four states, five states, two states. Two states is not possible according to my logic. Whenever I will explain the logic, you will understand what I'm exactly talking about. Okay, four states. I can take four states as an answer. Okay. Okay. The answer is four states according to my logic. I will just show you how I got it in four states. So we are starting like this. Okay. I will first talk about this particular second part. This part. This is second and this is first. Okay. In ideal situations, what I will do is I will go to. I will just compare it with this particular thing over here. I will try to draw a diagram similar to this. Okay. So what I can do is I can stick with this first half, and this second half can be reserved only for epsilon. So that is why I get 1, 2, 3, and 4 states. I will show you how. In the first section, I will take epsilon as the input. Okay. I will take epsilon as the input, move to an intermediate state, something like this. Okay. Over here, I am going to accept R1. So it will be one state, R1 over here, next state, and then this particular state, which is again epsilon and final state. Is the diagram complete? No, not yet. Let me explain what I am actually trying to do. Okay. What are the possible values which this machine will accept? The first value is R1. Okay. What about R1 square? Because I can have something like this R1 square or R1 cube. So right now I'm having 3 R1 in my set. But with this diagram, I can only accept one R1 and move to the final state. Correct? Yes or no? So I need to make a transition back to the state which is accepting R1. So what is that state? Let me number them for simplicity purpose. Okay. This is state number 1. For example, this is state number 2. This is state number 3. And this is state number 4. Okay. So now tell me, if I have the example as R1, R1 cube, R1, 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 then what shall I make? What transition shall I make? From 3 to 4, 4 to 3, it's up to you. Let me know your answer. Self loop on R1, correct. But right now, R1 has been divided into two states. Yeah, it will be from 3 to 2, correct. Because once after reading R1 over here, correct, if I have to read one more R1, I have to go back to the state which is accepting R1. Yes or no? Which is the state which is accepting R1? It is state Q2 or 2. So what I will do is I will make a transition from this state to this state here with epsilon value. Why epsilon? Because I am not taking any more inputs. I am just considering the input R1 and no other inputs. Am I correct? Am I right with this? Kindly let me know. Kindly acknowledge. You are accepting R1 values. It's basically a loop. जितने भी R1 होंगे उतनी बार I will make a transition from 3 to 2, 3 to 2, 3 to 2 and so on. Correct? Fine with this. So this is the first half of your diagram. What about the second half of your diagram? As I told previously, that one part will be accepting all the R1 values and the other part will be accepting only the single epsilon value and make a transition to the final state. So how is it possible? Correct. It is from state number 1 to 4 directly, something like this with epsilon. Now you only tell me this is NFA or DFA. Clearly it is an NFA, obviously, but it is an NFA with epsilon transitions. Yes. Why? Because have a look over here. State number 1 has two transitions for epsilon. Is it clear? State number 1 has to decide which path it has to choose. Either this path, upper one, or the lower one. Yes or no? Am I correct? That is why it is called a non-deterministic finite automata, because at every instant, every state, it has to make a decision which particular path to choose. If it chooses one path and it is not able to reach the final state, it has to come back and then select the other path to make a transition to the final state. That is why we call it non-deterministic finite automata. And if you want to simplify this diagram, you can draw it like this. Okay, just follow me. Get rid of this box. You can simply write it as 1. Over here it is 2. Over here it is 3. Over here it is 4, which is the final state. You can draw it like this, epsilon. You can draw it like this, epsilon. These are the epsilon values. And then feed in the actual value which you want, that is R1. Here in the final exam, you can either draw the above diagram or this particular diagram. This is the actual diagram which is wanted. Clear? This looks better and more understandable as we are familiar with these sort of diagrams in FA, FSM, Moore machines, Mealy machines, etc. Am I clear with this concept? This is how we got a star, a closure property, right? This is nothing but R1 closure. So this is the RE corresponding to it, and this is the FA corresponding FA for R1 closure. So now you got how we can construct an FA for an RE. Yes or no? Any further explanations needed? You can ask me. These sort of problems are very interesting. These are basically puzzle sort of problems. You need to think upon it, draw the diagram, and then move ahead. Okay. Clear with this? Can I move ahead with the actual set of problems which I want you to solve? Okay. Thank you so much. So let me give you some problems over here. We have already seen some basic problems, so I'm not focusing on the basic ones. I'm going to give you some tricky ones. Okay. Let's start with this. R is equal to A plus B. You know how to draw it, right? This is the first one. This A part. The second part B. That is R is equal to A closure. You have done this diagram right now, but I want you to practice along with me. As जितना ज़्यादा practice करोगे उतना better है आपके लिए. Okay. Next up is R is equal to A dot A closure. You know what is A dot A closure. It is also called as A plus, right? Then R is equal to A plus B whole closure. Kindly do this first and then I can move ahead. Okay. These four problems, kindly start and then we can solve it one by one. You know what is a plus b. It is very simple. How to move ahead with a plus b. How to solve a plus b. One path will be for A and the other path will be for B. So how many states? Kindly let me know. If I start it over here, okay, if this is your start state. If I start somewhat over here with Q0, or for simplicity, I'm not writing the uh, state values as alphabets. I'm just taking it as 0, 1, etc. How many states? Two. Kindly think of it once again. It is A plus B. That is either A or B. And tell me what is the total number of states required. You all are either right or all are incorrect. Many of you have given answer as 4. Many of you have given as 3. Obviously, 2 is totally incorrect. 3 is also incorrect. Even 4 is incorrect. So tell me the answer. Obviously, it cannot be one state. It is not 6 states. It is not 5 states. It is exactly 6 states. Why so? Why 6 states? First of all, tell me 4 kaisa aaya answer. How you people came up with the answer as 4? Because many of you have written 4 as an answer. Okay, let me draw this first and then you can rectify yourself. Let me give numbers to the states. It is 1, 2, 3. First of all, जब भी ऐसा question आएगा, whenever you encounter such a question, draw the rough structure first. Okay, and then you will get the actual answer. This is the structure for it. First, you have to accept epsilon. Don't forget that. Okay. The question can be construct an NFA, something like this. Construct NFA, or they can even give the question as FA. Okay. Whenever you encounter such a problem, whenever either if they have written it as NFA or even if they have written as FA, then go with NFA only. Okay. Because you can't directly get a DFA, as I explained earlier. It's a tricky process. These questions always come for 2 or 5 marks maximum. Now start filling up this diagram. How to do it? We have to start it like this. As you all know, we have to make two diversions. One path will accept A and the other path will accept B. Over here it is epsilon. Then this particular path will accept A and this particular path will accept B. You can't stop over there. I guess you now have an understanding that we can't stop at 2 or 4. We have to reach the final state. Yes or no? That is why we make a transition from 4 and 2 correspondingly to the final state 5. Am I clear with this? Am I clear with this diagram? This is how we can get a finite automata for this particular problem, that is A plus B. Clear? Now, if you see the last problem, it is A plus B closure. Okay, I will give you a very strong tip that will help you. Yeah, Tanvi, you have to consider the epsilons also, because whenever such problems are being asked, you have to draw an NFA by default. If they have not asked you specifically about a DFA, go with an NFA every single time. Okay, this is what is expected as an answer. Okay, so now this is what we have an answer for A plus B. But what about A plus B closure? How will we convert this into an A plus B closure type of a problem? We saw what exactly is a closure, but can you convert this particular diagram into A plus B closure? Yes or no? It is very simple. Think of it, compare this diagram with this diagram, and then you will come to know what exactly I'm asking about. This is A plus B. Left hand side diagram is A plus B, and this diagram is R1 star. So now just assume that this A plus B is nothing but R1. This A plus B is nothing but R1. So instead of this R1, the entire diagram which is present over here, that fit inside over here. समझ रहे हो क्या बोल रहा हूं मैं? Just assume that R1 is nothing but the structure which I had told at the very beginning of your lecture. R1 is nothing but your entire structure. That structure can consist of n number of diagrams inside. So that is what I'm trying to say. If A plus B is your R1, try to substitute the entire diagram of A plus B into R1. So whenever you're having this transition from 2 to 3, between 2 and 3, you have to fit in this particular diagram. You're understanding what I'm explaining? Yes or no? I'm just giving you a scenario where R1 has to be considered as A plus B. Why so? Because now I'm asking you to construct A plus B star or A plus B closure. This particular diagram on the right hand side is all about R1 closure. So now simply replace R1 by A plus B and you will get the answer. Yes or no? Did you got an understanding? Did you get an understanding of what exactly I'm trying to say? 8 states. Okay, let's try how 8 states will see. 6 and 2, correct. So whenever you get such a problem, right, you have to do some sort of a trick. It's very simple. For example, you can see in this diagram also, it was asked from you to construct a R1 closure sort of a machine. Whenever you get closure sort of a machine, you simply need to add one state before that particular state and one state after that particular state. It's very simple. एक स्टेट पहले आएगा, एक स्टेट बाद में आएगा. The first state is for accepting epsilons and the latter state is for accepting the epsilon again, but this time for a final state. So what you can do is, I'm just converting this diagram. Let me know if I'm going fast. Okay, I'm converting this particular diagram quickly over here to an epsilon sort of problem. Okay, how so? As I told you, you have to add one state at the beginning and one state at the end. So simply get rid of this particular state because we need to add some states over here. So what you can do is add one state at the beginning and add one state at the end. And this last state will be your final state. So right now, this state, that is number 5, is not your final state anymore. Clear? Similarly, you have to change the numberings. Over here, I have already started with 0, so I can take this as 0 dash or whatever you want to call it, and this can be state number 6. Now, how can you convert this particular A plus B into A plus B closure? It's very simple. First of all, there are two conditions. Either it will directly accept a closure. Yes? Are you getting what I'm doing? Either it will directly accept a closure and move into the final state, or the second thing is, once after accepting A plus B, it will again go back to accept one more A plus B. It will be a loop. The same thing we saw in the previous question also. Just make sure the arrows are proper. Otherwise, we will end up making mistakes. Kindly let me know if this diagram is clear. You want any further explanation how I came to this conclusion? Kindly let me know. On quickly, give me some acknowledgement so that I come to know whether you got this concept or not. Basically, what I did is, I first of all constructed A plus B and I picked it up and put it inside this R1. So R1 की जगह पे मैंने पूरा का पूरा diagram उठा के डाल दिया. If you compare this left hand side diagram with the right hand side diagram, both are same. Over here I forgot epsilon. Okay, जहाँ पे भी खाली है put epsilon. Okay, so this is what we get. Correct, correct, Tanvi. I just forgot to add those. Now it's complete. So don't forget any transitions wherever there is empty. You see that there is no logic involved. Put in an epsilon because you are simply making a change of state. You are not accepting any input, just making changes. Why we did transition from 5 to 6? Because we can't end up in 5, state number 5. Because see, in the previous case also, we saw that we have two options. Either we can directly take epsilon and move to the final state, or from this particular point 5, we can then move to the final state, that is 6. We can't make state number 5 as the final state. Otherwise, kya hoga? Machine will make a transition from the initial state to 5th. Over here, 5th state mein kya ho raha hai? I am making a loop back to 0. to check whether any more A or B are remaining. If I make this as final state, even after accepting A, the machine will halt because I have entered into the final state. That's why I can't have state number 5 as my final state. Just compare this with this diagram. It is nothing but the same diagram only. We are just picking the entire logic and putting it inside this R1. समझ रहा है, this R1 is nothing but your A plus B closure. A plus B. समझा अभी? That is what we have done over here. Clear? So you can take this as your reference. That is why I have not shown it as A star. I have shown it as R1 star. R1 is nothing but a regular expression. Any regular expression you can put inside this R1 and you will get answer for this. So basically this is a template. Just keep in mind whenever you're having closures, add one state at the beginning and add one state at the end. That is how you construct such problems. Clear with this? Any more explanations? Yeah. Can there be any other problem than closure where we get epsilon NFA? Yeah, I have already given you some problems. Try to solve these. Solve this third type, C problem, and then let me know the answer. All these problems are epsilon NFAs only. We have to first of all convert the RE into an epsilon NFA and then move ahead to convert that into a DFA or NFA without epsilons. But those are different questions. They are asked for 10 marks separately. Right now, the question is asked from you, convert an RE into an FA. You can use any method you wish. Okay, so I'm just explaining you the very first method, that is epsilon NFA. Clear with this? Try to solve this problem, C type. In the meantime, I will just give you the attendance link, fill it up, and keep on solving this problem. Okay. In the meantime, let's start with this problem. It is A dot A closure. The first thing is you need to construct what is A. So from the start state, okay, this is your start state. The first input is an A. So I will take the input as A. Now, pay attention properly over here. We have to divide the question into two parts. First part is A and second part is A closure. We can compare this as R1 dot R2 closure. Yes or no? Okay, sorry. It's not. Okay. Yeah. Right. So basically, it is R1 and R2. Okay. R1 and R2. So I can write it like this: R1 dot R2 closure. It is nothing but R1 is A and R2 is A again. Right? So try to compare it like this. First of all, construct a diagram, construct a state for accepting the first A. And the second part is A closure. Now we know that whenever we want to accept a closure, we have to have one state at the beginning and one state at the end. So you can draw it like this. Assume this particular state as your start state for A closure. What you can do is you can draw it like this. First of all, let me draw this. I will then explain you what exactly I'm doing. Okay. Now try to understand what I did exactly. Why I have added 4 states over here? Any idea? Because now I'm constructing A closure ka part. This is A closure. I'm going to use this sort of diagram for A closure. How? I can accept A over here. As I know that it is A closure. So A can repeat n number of times. So I have to go back with an epsilon, right? And as we have done in the past, this is nothing but epsilon. And as it is a closure, I have to make a transition from this to this also as epsilon. Am I clear with this diagram? Whatever is the question, you have to break it down into 2 sections, or how many sections, how many REs are present in that particular problem. In this case, I was having 2 sections, that is A and A star. So that is why I have opted for this 2-sectional diagram. Bit clear with this? It comes with practice. I have solved it n number of times. That's why I could quickly draw the structure. I came to know that I need 4 extra states for A star. Why? Because if I'm going with A star, I know that I have to start like this. Okay, this will be my structure for A star, right? And this is how I accept A, right? So that is what I have copied it over here. It is starting with A followed by A star, and this is your diagram. Is it clear? Kindly let me know. Yes. So don't worry if I'm going fast. You will obviously gradually end up gathering speed whenever you practice it. Okay. So these were the problems for today. Just have a look once again. If you are having any doubts, kindly let me know. So in the exam, if you are asked draw for A plus, then also you need to go with this diagram only, because as we all know, A star, A dot A star is equal to A plus. Why are we using epsilon everywhere? Is our question, Jyoti. Okay. Uh, A closure. What is A closure? Kindly let me know what is A closure. Yeah, I'm explaining once again. Uh, it's not making it complex. Understand why we are doing epsilon. I am not doing it for fun. There is a reason associated with it. What knowledge you have about epsilon? Epsilon is nothing but all the possible combinations of A, if I'm not wrong. Yes or no? It is starting with epsilon and then A square till A raised to infinity, right? Correct? So what about this epsilon? How to show it? We need some kind of state, right? Otherwise, we can't show it using epsilon. Yes or no? State number one is simply accepting A. State number two is a state which can accept this epsilon and move to the final state. Yes or no? That is what we have done so far. Similarly, the other part or state numbers 3 and 4 are concerned with accepting these inputs. That is what is called as NFA. अगर यही चीज मैंने स्टार्टिंग में बताया होता तो किसी को समझ में नहीं आता. That is why I have started with RE and then I will go back to solve NFA. Clear? I hope this is clear now why we are adding those epsilons. It is not just for making the diagram bigger or making the diagram complex. It is just for following all the conditions which the question is asking from us. Okay, in this case it is A star. A star simply means all possible combinations including zeros, including ones till infinity. Okay, that is why this epsilon has been added over here. So basically what happens is, if the statement is something like this, will the machine accept it? Will the machine accept a single A? Yes or no? If the language is A, is it going to accept it? Yes. Why? Because it is A dot A closure. So the second half is totally omitted, right? So the machine will accept this A, and over here we are not having any inputs. So it simply means the input is epsilon. Yes or no? It's a null input or an epsilon input. Hence the machine will make a transition from state number 2 to state number 5 directly, and that is why we need the concept of epsilon over here. Otherwise, the machine will get stuck at state number 2 and we won't be able to make a transition to state number 5, which is our final state. That is the entire importance of making use of these epsilon values. I hope now you got the understanding of what epsilon is used for. It is not for making the questions complex. It is for solving all the queries, all the conditions which are associated with that simple looking problem. Correct? Correct. We are trying to reach the final state, and we are considering all the possible combinations which are basically addressed by this set of regular expression. Clear? Fine with it? Kindly let me know if you are clear with it, then we can stop this lecture. Okay. Thank you so much. Let me take once again the meet attendance if people are still here. Let me take it quickly. I actually forgot that once again. Okay, so practice these problems because these are very important. Okay, let me go back to some queries which are being asked by Dhruv. Why you have written a between 3 to 4? Dhruv, what is our question? It is A dot A star, right? We have to consider A also, na? A भी तो लेना पड़ेगा ना? Yes or no? It is a dot a closure. So for a closure, I have written a over here, and the loop is from 4 to 3. So that a कितनी बार भी आए, a एक बार आए, a दो बार आए, तीन बार आए, I can simply make a transition from 4 to 3 and keep on reading that many times of a. Correct. Initially a single a, then a loop of a for accepting the closure values. Clear with this?